Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. I just called my buddy Will Clute. On the reservation, Will has been guiding every day because the laws are different there, and people do have a chance to get out there and fish at a time when our other seasons are closed. Now, the good thing is number one, there's hardly anybody fishing these waters. You got to be with a native. And second of all, it's all catch and release. But I wanted to ask Will a couple things. Number one, what are some of the trends he's seeing? But more important, if he were in my position and were given a chance to talk on the radio, what would he say? And he says, I think the most important thing you can stress right now is catch and release. And we talk about it so much. Catch and release is really the portend of the future of the fishery in this area. We need to protect those fish. But right now, as much as any time of the year, it's the most important of all, because even though we, in this region, we aren't allowed to intentionally fish for bass, this time of the year, honestly, I don't care where you're fishing, whether you're fishing from shore or in a boat or what water you're going to be in. If there's bass in that water, you're going to catch them, because they're the most vulnerable right now. They've all moved into the shallow area. Their intention is totally, and it's not thoughtful, it's instinctual. Their intention is to spawn. And we really need to protect these fish during the spawning season. So obviously, if we take these wonderful big fish that we would catch right now, which is, you know, you have the biggest chance right now of catching a trophy fish of just about any species, because all the species of fish, northern pike, walleyes, bass, all these glamour fish will be moving into their spawning areas to spawn basically during the same period of time. And so they're going to be vulnerable, and they're going to be where all of us can reach them. And so if we catch these big fish, if we catch any bass, obviously they got to go back. But if we catch any of these big fish, it's imperative that we release them to give them a chance to spawn. And when fish are on the bed, they're going to hit anything. They're going to protect that bed. It doesn't matter if you've caught them 5 minutes before, they're going to hit again, because their instinct is to protect and procreate and let that species keep going. And so it's so important right now that we practice catch and release. And so how do you release? You know how to catch them, but how do you release them safely? Number one, you handle them as little as possible. That's why you see Major League Fishing events for Major League Fishing, where if that bass even touches the side of the boat, there's a penalty. In other words, they don't want any damage coming to these fish. Number two, if you handle them, remember, you hold a fish by the jaw, and what you used to see the pictures for years and years and years, it actually stresses their spine or whatever. It's not good for them. So the less you handle them, the better. And here's my biggest tip of all for all of you. The more you stick to using single hooks as opposed to treble hooks, I think the bigger chance you have of not internally injuring their gills, their stomach, and so forth. So that's why all the time now when I'm fishing, I just use single hooks. It's for the long-lived chances of our sport. So catch and release. I preach it a lot. It goes against everything I grew up with, but it's the way we need to be. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.